Okay, guys. So this is my Memeplar Templar tank build for the Deadlands patch. Now, this build is just a pure kind of mess around fun build that is basically alleviating all the problems that a Templar has. So I don't recommend this for like a super serious kind of thing, but I've had a lot of fun doing it, so I wanted to share with you guys what it is that is happening with this build. So this is definitely a pug tank build for people who don't really play tank, or people who just want a bit of fun. You want to be able to run into a dungeon and just do stuff without even worrying about it. So we'll start off. We've got all our points into health, 64 points into health, nice bit of stats there, 23k magicka, 24k stamina, 1.6k mag recovery, 41k max health. Resistances buffed up, 26k, 26k. So plenty of stuff going on there. We've got the Atrodot Munder Stone, Tri-Stat Food. And there we go. In terms of the skills, kind of standard for tanking to start. We've got Pierce Armor and Heroic Slash. Then we use an Explosive Charge. And the reason we're doing this is because one of our gear sets is going to allow us to do AoE taunting. So we've kind of worked a couple of gear sets together. This is going to be really important to AoE taunt everything. Then we've got Radiant Ward, which is our huge damage shield. 12.5k damage shield. Magicka costing as well. This is your main function of staying alive. On this bar, we've also got Repentance, so when enemies die, when ads die, you zap the corpses, you get a bunch of stamina back, and you heal yourself as well. Really, really nice way to keep yourself alive in dungeon content, 4-man content. That's what this build would be used for. This is mainly, I would say, probably something you would use for like pug groups. If you want to make dungeons really easy, if you're not a tank, this is the build for you. So Repentance is going to be there for that. And it's also passively giving you minor fortitude, endurance, and intellect, increasing your recovery. Replenishing Barrier, which is going to give us a 10% Magicka recovery with the Magicka Aid passive. On the back bar, Inner Rage for a range taunt. Extended Ritual for a heal. Heal over time. Really nice heal over time. It's actually one of the highest healing abilities that you'll use on a Templar tank after looking at it. Frost Blockade. This is to proc you a back bar weapon enchant. It's also a nice immobilization, which is quite nice. Then we've got Restoring Focus. This is a heal if you stand inside it. It gives you stamina back every 1 second, and it gives you spell and physical resistance. So a must-have skill. You don't have to stand inside it to get the stamina back or the resistances. You only need to stand inside for the healing. The healing scales with max health, so the more health we've got, the bigger the heal's going to be. And then the last skill, Living Dark. So this is going to proc you group buff, minus sorcery, but it's also a really good dungeon skill. So when you go into an ad pull, you cast this as you're walking in. When you get hit, it's going to snare enemies. It's going to snare enemies by 60% for 3 seconds, and you get healed when you receive a direct damage attack by 2,657. These can be buffed as well. So these healing, the heals that you're going to get can be increased and buffed. And then yeah, it's going to scale with max health as well. So you've got 3 major healing skills plus a shield. We don't have any chains and talons or anything like that on this build. That's because we're going to combat those issues with the gear sets we're going to use. So the gear is the important stuff here. So here we go. The first gear set we're using on the front bar is the Master's one-handed shield for any additional healing that you might need. This can be switched for anything that you want. So you could use the Vatishran one-handed shield. You could use a range of different things, but the Master's is what we've got here. On the back bar, we've got Dark Convergence. So, as I said, this is meant to be fun. This is fun. This is for people who don't tank. If you don't tank, you want something that can do all the work for you. So here we go, Dark Convergence. Max Magicka, it gives pen, it gives weapon and spell damage. Those aren't really that useful. But when you cast an ability, it's going to put a thing on the ground. So when you put down a ground ability, so Caltrops, Ritual, Rune, any of those things, you put it down, it's going to create this thing on the floor. So you don't want to pre-cast those skills. You cast them when you get into the middle of an ad pull. When you go into the middle of the ad pull, everything gets pulled in by the Dark Convergence, and then it gets held in place because it stuns the enemies in place. So this is a chain and a stun. Now for any enemies that don't make it into the Dark Convergence, can be chained in by using the Swarm Mother set. So we're going to use Swarm Mother, and this is going to chain in anything that's attacking you that's further out. So Dark Convergence is going to be really close. Close by enemies are going to get pulled in, but then there's still going to be like archers and mages that could be further out. So you just turn around and range taunt those. Your Swarm Mother comes into play. Swarm Mother one piece, max magicka and stamina. Really, really nice. But when you block an attack from an enemy that's between 8 and 22 meters away, you'll pull them in. So there you go. This is another chain. So for enemies that are further out than your Dark Convergence is able to pull in, this is going to do it for you. And then the final gear set is the Tormentor set. And this is going to give us max health, double healing taken, and when you deal direct damage with a charge, leap, teleport, pull ability, you gain physical resistance and you taunt the enemy for 15 seconds. This is an AoE taunt when we combine it with the skill Explosive Charge. So I'm going to show you how this works in a second, but basically it's just going to AoE taunt everything. So you're going to run into an ad pull, you're going to pull everything in, you're going to stun it, and then you're going to taunt it. So everything happens with literally 2 button presses, and you've got full control of the whole dungeon. So for people who don't play tank, this is going to be very, very easy to use because it's doing everything for you. In terms of the gear, obviously on the bar we've got Infused Crusher, we've got a Tri-Stat Sturdy, Infused and Absorb Stamina on the one-hander. All of the gear is Sturdy Tri-Stat because that is the best set combination to go with. And then on the Jewelry, Triune and Magicka Recovery. Okay, for the champion points, the main slottables we're going for here is Enduring Resolve, reduced dot damage, Duelist Rebuff for reduced single target attacks, Ironclad for reduced direct damage attacks, and then we're using Cutting Defense to proc our front bar enchant without doing anything. So we're going to stand there. When we get hit, our Absorb Stamina enchant is going to proc on cooldown just by blocking a direct damage attack. So we're not even going to have to cast an ability. Every time we get hit and it's off cooldown, it's just going to proc again when we get hit. So this is nice and easy. Cutting Defense. Nice and easy for that situation. All the other things, we just take everything that you don't need to slot. So Eldritch Insight, Tireless Discipline, all that kind of stuff. On the red CP, slottables, Boundless Vitality, free dodge roll with Expert Evasion, Sustained by Suffering for some more recovery, and then one of my favourites, just Bracing Anchor, so we can stand there and hold block. And then again, everything else that doesn't need to be slotted. So just all the things that you don't need to slot, you just take them all. Okay, so now the most important part. How does this work? So, as I said, this is a build that is going to make dungeon tanking very easy for people who don't play as a tank, for people who don't want to do anything as a tank, effortless tanking for people that might not be able to tank very well. It's going to make your life easy. So we're just going to go in here. We're going to cast up with these skills. As we go into this pull here, just run in, drop it down, drop your stuff down, and then Explosive Charge to AoE taunt everything. Everything is now taunted. Everything in this area is now taunted. And then once we're able to, you just need to keep up your skills. We just taunt, we can interrupt and taunt everything all with literally 2 buttons. If we were to range taunt this now to proc our Swarm Mother, we range taunt this one, look. This is going to get pulled in by Swarm Mother. So there you go. Pulled in. So we don't have to do anything. We're taunting everything. We're hitting everything. We're pulling everything into a stack. It gets stunned. It gets pulled in. It's all in very, very swift movement. So we're not going to take much damage because the amount of healing and shields that we can do is absolutely insane. So Tormentor's going to proc and taunt everything. Swarmer's going to chain everything in. Let's just run through to the next handful.
Do you louts think you're going to
you just run in, put down your AoE, hold block, everything's pulled in, job done. And then everything's taunted. So it's it's no effort. It's no effort tanking. Now, I'm not saying that no effort tanking is a good thing, because this is not going to be something that you want to use if you want to progress in the future. But for people who want to tank, who don't tank very often, who might struggle to tank, everything's pulled in, and then we go again. So everything, it just makes everything easy. It pulls, it stuns, it taunts. Everything is AoE based, and you don't really have to do anything. Now, I'm definitely somebody who likes to follow the meta. I like to use builds that are going to benefit my group. That's why I'm saying if you are new to tanking, then this is going to be extremely beneficial. But it is fun. At the end of the day, sometimes you have to have some fun. Pull it in, taunt it all, go to good. And then you just zap up the corpses for your stamina back. And there we go. So that, guys, is my my Memeplar Templar tank build. Nice and easy way to avoid the issues, to combat the issues that the Templar has in a way. So the Templar's issues, they have Silver Leash for chaining, which is stamina expensive. They struggle to do that. They have trouble with rooting enemies because Turn Evil, again, expensive skill, cost stamina. Those problems are combated by using that setup. Now, obviously, if you wanted to optimize this setup, you'd just use my standard dungeon tank build. Like, there is a dungeon tank build on the website that's specific for actual efficient tanking. So Yolnaka and Drake's Rush, PA, Olarim, any of those gear sets combined with the Masters or the Vatashran, combined with Magma Incarnate or Spulder of Ruin or something like that. So if you want an optimized build, that is what it's going to be. If you want something fun, easy, very simple to play, then this is a build for you. Thanks for watching, guys.